Before we get into it, please like this video, subscribe to this channel, and hit that bell icon so that you can be notified every time we put a financial tip video out or every time we put any video out that's going to help you understand how money works so that you can make it work for you. The federal government wants to give you $1,000 in an effort to jumpstart the economy. Now, will this work? We're going to talk about that. But first, I want you to subscribe to this channel. If you haven't subscribed already, if you have subscribed, hit the like button now. We're going to give you some great information that you will like. You'll love it, actually. And also hit the bell icon after you hit subscribe so that you can be notified every time we drop a new video, because you're going to want to stay tuned in, especially during this time because of the corona upheaval in our markets. Now, we're going to talk about whether or not this $1,000 is going to be helpful. And we're also going to talk about some solutions that will really help our economy get back on its feet. And Nancy Pelosi and Donald Trump, I know you're listening, so take notes. Now, the other thing about this is there are a lot of people out there who are not necessarily fans of bailouts of any kind. And I'm among that group, okay? But if you find yourself you got that $1,000 check from the government in your hand and you just have a lot of moral consternation about taking that money, give me a call. I'll help you out. Now, the government wants to give you $1,000. They want to kind of bail out the citizenry. And I know a lot of people out there have issues with bailouts of any kind. I'm one of those people, actually. I thought it was a travesty in 2008 when the banks were bailed out and when the auto manufacturers were bailed out, and the people of America, many of whom were facing foreclosure and lost their homes, had absolutely no bailout. I thought it was morally wrong. And it also turned out not to be the best financial decision. If we're going to have true capitalism in this country, then we're going to either do away with the too big to fail moniker, or we're going to treat the backbone of the economy, the consumer, the citizen, with the same respect that we treat these large corporations. Now, what is this $1,000 going to do? Not much, I fear, because $1,000 is not a lot of money, okay? And I'm not trying to be sound elitist or anything like that, but if you look into Baltimore City, in Baltimore City, the average rent is $1,200 a month. So even if you got $1,000, that's still not getting you all the way to where you need to be to make your rent. So things are expensive out here. What is $1,000, a one-time payment of $1,000? Sure, if I walked down the street and I found $1,000 laying on the ground, I'd be ecstatic. But in this case, remember, the government has no money of its own. They take money out of your right pocket because you're a taxpayer, and they put it into your left pocket, and you're supposed to get excited about that. This will not help for another very obvious reason. Where are you going to spend it? Everything's closed. So you're not going out for several nights on the town. You're not going to the bar. You're probably not going to buy a new suit of clothes because you're not going to work. You're working from home. You're working in your pajamas because everybody is clearing out these offices and allowing people to telecommute. So I don't think $1,000 is going to be very beneficial. What will work, though? What is going to work to bring this country back? All right, number one, we've got a very obvious problem that if we solve this problem, we create more jobs in this country. That problem is our manufacturing has been outsourced to China. And we're in a situation now where a lot of medical supplies are being manufactured in China, and we're having a tough time getting access to rubber gloves, face masks, and very rudimentary items that we as Americans, as the richest country in the world, should not be lacking. But we are, because we have allowed another country to be our manufacturer. And they are saying, well, we're not going to send these things right now because we have a need for them also. So we're not going to put them on a boat and send them across the Pacific to you. What we need to do is incentivize, states need to incentivize manufacturing companies, and they need to do this in the form of tax breaks so that they can open plants and bring workers back in to start making things. We have become a service economy, and this crisis illustrates that that doesn't work. Okay, it's not sustainable. I know a lot of people love the word sustainable. Us being strictly a service oriented economy, it's proven it's just not working. So the other thing with bringing those jobs back, you got to pay attention to why they left in the first place. And one of those reasons has to do with the fact that it became prohibitively expensive for manufacturers to create things in this country. And one of the reasons that happened is because we're a suit happy country. We like to run and litigate. If you have a ladder in your house, after you watch this video, go read all of the warnings on a ladder, okay? I would not like to own a ladder company because people do dumb things on ladders and then they sue, because we have a lot of lawyers who are in these state houses and in Congress, and they make it easy for other lawyers to come to the table with frivolous suits. There should be some personal responsibility that makes you understand that you can't try to dance on the top step of a ladder and not expect to get injured. So we need to do something about tort reform, make it easier for these companies to come back. And then the other thing is the unions, they kind of went crazy a little while ago and chased a lot of corporations out of America. Now, just a full disclosure, I've said it before, I used to be a member of a union, the Communications Workers of America. And unions have done a lot of good for this country. But unions, somewhere along the line, they forgot about the fact that they have a symbiotic relationship with the corporations, the employees of whom they represent. And that symbiotic relationship will not be benefited at all if the country picks up stakes and rolls out. So the unions need to understand that. And if they can't, then there are right to work states in this country, predominantly in the South, that would love to have manufacturing come back and employ people. That's number one. Okay. Number two, we need to think about our small businesses. Now, there are some things that these state legislators and the congressmen and women can do immediately to help these small business owners, these gym owners, bars, restaurants, theaters, to help them out. Because after all, it is the state that has ordered them closed. So the state can do things to help them get back on their feet once the crisis has abated. The first thing that they can do is they can offer tax credits, not tax deductions, tax credits that will see the incentivization and see these companies being able to hold on to more of the money that they so desperately need at this time. The other thing is they need to go ahead and extend filing deadlines. A lot of companies file their taxes quarterly. And when I say companies, I'm talking about small businesses. I'm talking about my neighbor who owns Wine and Grind, it's a local restaurant, or my friend who owns the Bread and Circuses bar and grill up in Towson. Okay, these people are not multinational corporations, but they do employ people. Okay, and they do provide a valuable service to the neighborhood. So they need to have tax credits. They need to have their filing deadlines extended. And here's the big thing that they need. If these people have qualified retirement accounts, the government needs to expand the definition of hardship. Under certain circumstances, you can take a hardship loan from your qualified retirement account, your solo 401k, your IRA. That definition needs to be expanded to include what's going on right now and recovering from that. Now, I don't want to see people withdraw the money from their retirement accounts, because then they will be hit with penalties and taxes, and they'll also be taking that money out of play. If they put themselves in a position where they borrow the money from themselves under the hardship provision, then they'll pay the money back to themselves, interest and principal that benefits them. So these are the things that I'd like to see put into place immediately to help this country out. And Boeing and some of the airlines, they're asking for bailouts. I don't believe they should get a bailout because this should be raw capitalism. And I'll go back to 2008 when the corporations got a buyout and the citizens didn't. So what will happen to these airlines that if they can't be bailed out? Well, then they'll be purchased by the airlines like Delta, who've been better stewards of their business. Boeing is the only manufacturer on par with Airbus, which is the European airline manufacturer. Boeing also does a healthy business in the defense sector. I don't see them going anywhere. Okay, anytime you're selling something that costs a couple of $1 million a pop, you should be okay. And the government is not going to let a defense contractor go under. So let's just be real about that. All right, so that's what I think should be done. Let me know what you think. Do you think the $1,000 is a good idea? Or do you think some of the things that I've said are good ideas? What are your ideas? Maybe I didn't mention your idea, and maybe it'll work. So give me some feedback. In the meantime, play to prosper. Go ahead and become a revolutionary, and let us go ahead and teach people how money works so that they can make it work for them. And the first way you become a revolutionary is by liking the Money Changes Everything page on Facebook, and of course by subscribing here. Play to prosper. I look forward to talking with you soon.